Hey fellow rockstars, Dr. Dan here, and in this video we're going to be talking about keyword research, okay? So obviously if you have some of our other courses and we go through keyword research, those are definitely the ones you want to follow. This is going to be the same advice, but we're just going to kind of go through it real quickly just to go over the main points and what you need to do. So the first thing is obviously it depends on what niche, what industry, what your business is in, or the ones that you want to target, or the product, or anything that it is. So in this example, let's go ahead and talk about pool builders. Okay, so let's say you are a pool builder, or you have a client that's a pool builder. So the first thing you do is you just type in the whole little Google thing here is Google field is pool builder, right? So we'll start with that. So pool builder, and as you can see, these suggestions are popping in. Okay, now these aren't suggestions of Google just trying to guesstimate what you're typing in. It's part that, but it's also part what's most commonly searched, because otherwise, why would it be giving me these results right here? Now, some of it is based on location of where I am as well. But then again, I'm not going to really worry about the locations because I don't really care about that, because obviously if my client or my own business is in New York, it doesn't matter where I am, which is I'm actually in Southern California, so I'm closer to these. But I can go ahead and type in pool builder, and then I can start with the letter A. And as you can see, it's still giving me some cities here, but I can go B, C. See, now we're actually getting somewhere. So you can see the pool builder calculator, right? So that's something that people are searching. Well, that gives me an idea, so I can open up a text file and just start, copying these over, right? Let me go ahead and open one up, actually. That would be good. There we go. All right, so I'm going to open up that one right there. I'm going to go ahead and type that in there. That's one good idea, right? Then I can go pool builder, calculator, design calculator. That's cool. So you can just kind of click around as you're adding these, and just keep adding more and more, right? Let's see, anything else? Swimming pool, design, calculations. I don't really like the way that sounds. Software standards, swimming pool design. No, I don't really like the way that sounds. Part of it is as you get better, you'll kind of figure out what works good too. There's some modifiers like cost, right? That's something that's very, you can see right here, it just popped into the little thing. And again, if I would have typed in a C, that would have given me that idea right there probably. Well, calculations, contractor covers, maybe if I typed in an O, then an S, cost. Okay, well now it shows up. Swimming pool cost. Then there's also modifiers like custom pool, right? Could be cost calculator. See, that's a good one as well. Go ahead and take that. Another thing you could do too, as we're in-ground pool costs. So these are all good ones too. Fiberglass pool cost calculator. Let me go ahead and take that one right there. Whoops. It's going to pop in there. So you're kind of getting the idea of that. Another way too is as you're doing this and kind of clicking around and all over the place, you can scroll down to the bottom too. There's two things. One, common questions. These are great to target as keywords, whether you're going to put them in the title of your content or just on the page, or write an article about it, or answer that question. Sometimes these pop up, people also ask, right? And you could take this and be like, this is a great question. How much does it cost to put in a pool? Well, that is a good question, right? So I'm going to paste that in there. Then I also want to take this answer. Why not, right? I'm going to copy that over. Going to go ahead and paste that in there too. Well, I want that. Why not add that as like a Q&A section? And you can rewrite this. You could do two things. One, you could rewrite this, which is probably what I would do. Just rewrite it a little bit. I'm not talking about like, you have to rewrite the entire thing. Just put it in your own words, unless you're going to cite the source. But then again, I mean, this is Riverside Pool, Pool and Spas. I mean, this is another company. So I don't really want to cite them as a source. So I'm going to go ahead and change the way this reads. Just a couple of the words and put it in my own words, basically. then that way I don't have to cite the source. I'm just using, I mean, this information. Now, obviously, if this was like from Yahoo Answers or something, then I would have no problem citing the source because they're not in competition with my client or myself if I'm a pool builder in that area. And plus, it also makes you look like the expert or your customer like the expert. And they might also have answers when you hire somebody or when somebody hires you. If it is somebody else or if it's you, you might have a better answer than the one that's there, or your client might. So the other thing I was getting down to is besides that point right here, these common questions, the other ones are down here, related searches. This is kind of like a spider web. I mean, you could just go in here and go fiberglass pool cost estimator versus concrete. Okay, cool. I'm going to click on that. Now it gives you, I can take this one and be like, you know what, I like that one too. I'm going to go ahead and paste that one in there. Right? Now I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. Ooh, here's more. Boom, Here's another one. Boom. Well, I wouldn't use that one because pool for sale. I don't know. That's usually something else. But cheapest, right? I don't know if I'd want to target that anyways, but just to give you an idea, above ground fiberglass pool, right? So maybe that's one that I like. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that one too. So you can collect, I would recommend getting at least, 10 or 20 keywords. And then from those 10 or 20, what I would do is I would actually, let's see. So you want between 10 and 20, right? From those 10 or 20, you want to narrow it down to your top, right, 5. Let's say 3 to 5, right? These 3 to 5 are going to be the titles of your pages, and 1 will be the domain, right? The domain that you purchase. An exact match domain would be a good idea for that. So somewhere around there, okay? This isn't like a total rule. You can actually do whatever you want, but that's just a good idea. And then, from these 3 to 5, these are going to be your title of the pages, in the menu bar and content on the page. And then the 10 to 20, these are going to be additional ones that you can take those additional, right? So like you could take it, between 5 and 10 of those keywords from that 10 or 20 list. You pick your top ones, and those are going to be in the content, right? So on the content of the actual page. So what you're writing up, whether it be an article or whatever you're putting, it'd be a good idea to put that in there. So those are the basics right there. Now, how do you narrow down which keywords to target? Well, obviously, because this is not a product, this is a a service and localized, right? Because you're not looking to be a pool builder in the entire world, right? Whether your company is based, like let's say in Southern California, you're not going to travel to New York to build a pool, and if your client is based in Southern California, they're not going to go to New York. So how do we narrow this down? So I want to add a city. So let's say my pool builder is in, let's see, where do I want them to be? Let's say Newport Beach, right? So if they're in Newport Beach, I'm going to go ahead and take this. I want to add the city name now to all these keywords, right? So if I do Newport Beach, you want to do quotation marks. You want to wrap quotation marks around it like this, the quotes from beginning to end, because what that's going to do is going to tell Google, it's going to say, hey, only serve up results for anybody that has this exact combination of words in this order right here. Okay, I don't want anybody else that's kind of spread out. So as you can see, it says no results found, right? So that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, you know what? That has 0 results. I like that, right? Another thing I want to do is I want to remove that last quote, because that's usually all I need to do in order to get an accurate number here. And it says that without the quotation marks, I'm also looking for, is there any videos on this page? There's no videos. That means I can jump on this first page right away with a video more than likely. Some niches and industries, it might not, like payday loans and things like that. Sometimes Google doesn't want to put a video on the front page for whatever reason. So just keep that in mind. If it never shows up, that's probably why. So this, now, just so you know, without quotation marks, this is the same thing as, I didn't remove that, I was just being lazy, right? So there's no difference between that. What this is doing, just so you understand, Pool Builder Calculator Newport Beach, right? Now these results it's giving me, which is over 2 million results, right? What it's doing is it's saying, okay, well, give me results of anything that has the words pool calculator in it on that page and pool. And so it has pool, builder, calculator, Newport Beach, somewhere on that page, right? So in this example, it actually says it's even missing Newport, right? So it says the word beach in there, but not Newport. It's actually telling me that. So if I open this in a new tab, you will see that on this page, those words are going to be on there. So what were the words again? Pool builder, calculator, beach. So let's go ahead and do a Command F, which is going to give me my find. You don't have to do this. I'm just explaining this, why it's doing that, right? So the word pool is all over the place on their page. That's what I meant by that. The word calculator, right? Or let's do builder. Builder is all over the page down there too. So it's 10 times. You can see 10 times on this page somewhere. And then we can do the word calculator, right? So you can see I'm just calculator. I don't even have to type it all out. And we've got 7 spots or seven places on this page that it says the word calculator, right? And then obviously the Newport's not on here because it already told me that, but the word beach is here 1 time, right? So that gives you an idea of what Google is doing to serve that up. Now, why do we care that there's no results here? Because by having no results or 0 results, that's telling me that I have a better chance of getting all over the first page, or at least a first page ranking, because nobody else is using that exact combination. Does that guarantee I'm going to get first page rankings? No, it doesn't guarantee it, but it definitely gets you a better chance. Now, does that mean that's the only thing you're going to show up for? No, it's not. You can search up, I mean, you can show up for a combination of things. Just like when we removed the quotation marks, these people are showing up for this search, even though Newport Beach is not in this content, right? And also, just because you put in Pool Builder Calculator Newport Beach on your page, or in the domain name, or in the title, you're also going to show up for maybe just pool calculator without even the city name in there, you know, because Google does what's called near me. So like you saw when I do pool, right, pool calculator here, it's going to serve up a lot of times results that are near me, right? Just like when I was doing the swimming pool, right? And, oops, I spelled that wrong. Type that in, swimming pool. And then I did little A, B, right? So Beverly Hills, that's close to me, right? Well, it's like an hour away, or hour and a half away. C, right? D, E. Looking for more here. Oh, Glendale, there we go. Glendale's, you know, probably like, I don't know, half hour away from me too. So it's giving me, you know, it's not serving up like New York or anything, because it knows where I am. Even though I'm in incognito mode, because of my IP address and all that, it knows that I am here. So you don't have to type in that. The customer or the potential, you know, prospect doesn't have to type in Newport Beach. The fact that they are in that city is, or close to it, is going to help show that up. So I just wanted you to kind of understand that. Also, another thing I wanted to explain as well is when you do Pool Builder Calculator Newport Beach, this 2 million results, this 2.5, 2.5, 2.6 million results has nothing to do with how many people are searching. Or when I throw in quotation marks, sometimes people get confused about this as well, and it shows up 0, no results. That has nothing to do with how many people are searching. This just has to do with how many people are competing to get in front of potential prospects for that search term. Okay, so I wanted that to kind of explain that, because a lot of people get confused on that, right? Another thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes we hear people talk about the Google keyword tool. Well, there is no Google keyword tool. There's the keyword planner, which is what they're calling it today. They've had many different names for it. But the keyword planner is for Google AdWords. They want you to spend money in order to use this tool. So if you don't even know what the Google AdWords tool is, or if you've never heard the term, the Google keyword tool, then don't even worry about this. Just get out of your mind. You don't even need this. You don't want to even look at it. But if you are one of those people that heard somebody else talk about it or something like that and say, oh, this shows up no terms. When I search pool builder calculator Newport Beach in the Google keyword tool, which is the Google AdWords tool, 0 results show for searches. Nobody's searching for that. Well, number one, Google doesn't tell you what their parameters is for. Number two, they want to sell you their AdWords, okay? So it's all about spending money with them. And a low volume, anywhere from, 1 to 10 searches a day probably doesn't even register in this keyword planner because that's not worth it for people to spend money on sometimes. So they're not going to give those results. So it doesn't matter. Just keep that in mind because if I have a pool builder as a client or I am a pool builder, well, a pool can cost anywhere from a minimum of, $20,000 to over $100,000. Well, that's a heck of a lot of money. How many clients or how many times would I have to build a pool in order to make it worth me to pay money to have a site set up for me or to build my own site or have my team do it or whatever? Well, maybe 1 or 2 a year, right? Because that's a heck of a lot of, big money right there. So I don't need a lot to validate that. So just keep that in mind as well. So don't worry about the Google AdWord tool. Google is not in the position, they don't want you to use their tool to get free traffic, okay? They want you to spend money with them. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I think I covered everything in here. Let's see, pool builder calculator Newport Beach. Yeah, so just like I showed you, another thing I like to do is remember I said I put in the 0 right there, and then I might put video 0, and then I also might do map 0 as well. Okay, what I mean by the map listing, that this just tells me it makes it even a stronger case for me to target this keyword. So if I want to do swimming pool cost, right? I'm gonna try that one and just kind of walk you through that as well. Swimming pool cost Newport Beach, right? If I type in that, I was hoping that I was going to get one with a map listing, but it didn't show up. So again, on this one, let me just do swimming pool, okay? Normally I don't go for these what's called short tail keyword terms. Swimming pool, Newport Beach, there we go. So I got a map listing, right, with a couple results here. I typically stay away from making this my domain name at least, mainly because I don't want to try and compete with this map listing here as well, okay? Because I will show up a lot of times for this search as well, but I don't want that to be my primary, target. So this probably would not even make my list because I'm already going to be ranking for swimming pool and the word Newport Beach somewhere, some of those combinations, because that's already in most of these terms, swimming pool, cost. So even though this word cost is in here, well, I'm going to rank for all those. Whereas these people are only ranking more than likely for these search terms because they didn't put cost in their search terms, right? So I would probably avoid this. This is not be one. So if I was to keep track of this and be like, you know what, this might be one I want to target. Well, let's go ahead and do it with quotation marks. And as you can see, the map listing disappeared. Okay, that's why I always do it without the quotation marks too. But that's a very high competition right there, right? So let's do swimming pool. So that was, okay, let's put this one in here in this list. Swimming pool, Newport Beach. So exact match has over 27.0. So in order to make my list, I typically like it to have under 100. So I want this number to be under 100. This is way, way high for me to even target, right? So I just don't want to. It just doesn't make any sense. So usually under 100. Now, I will say that usually my top 10 to 20 list, most all of them have 0 results because most people still do not understand this strategy. So they don't do it. Okay, so that's totally fine. I like that. Don't do it, please. But you need to do it. All right. So then I would actually go, okay, well, let me go in without the quotation marks, right? So I'm going to go and remove these. Now, I don't care about this number now, but I do want to look, is there a map listing? And I'll type in, and I'll put in here, maps, right? Well, it doesn't matter which order you do. So I do map, and then I do, okay, well, there's, what is this, like 3 results here? Okay, maps, 3. Videos, is there any videos on this page? Nope, 0. So that means I could still make a video and target that exact match key term, and I might be on the first page. But then again, you never know what Google's going to do, so don't worry about that. So I wouldn't target just this with a video. I would probably put the word cost in there too, because you will still show up more than likely, you know, in the same spot right there too. Okay, so I think, is there anything else I needed to cover about that? Oh, something else that happens sometimes is, and you know, I'd have to click around in order to eventually show up to that result. But sometimes when you do an exact match search, and this doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it might say, oh, there's 2,700 results. Well, sometimes you go down to the bottom, you're like, oh, well, there's only 3 pages. Why is that, right? Or you look and then you click on the next page, and all of a sudden, these numbers get down lower, and you click 3, right? And you go through, and there's not that many results all of a sudden, right? Or you go to 4. Well, it's going to say I omitted some results because some of them are you know, considered, you know, duplicate or from the same site or something like that. Then you can do repeat this search and show all those, right? And then I go down to page 7 or page, let's see, let's go previous. Yeah, so sometimes it can kind of screw with you and be like, oh, whoa, there's now all of a sudden this only has 40 results. What? Page 4 of 40 results. That makes no sense. So sometimes keep that in mind that Google's going to be kind of screwy like that. So if you're doing something, and again, I wouldn't target this one, but like let's say you're doing this search and for some reason it told you there's like 2,000 results, and you're just like, you know what, that doesn't make much sense because this city is not huge. It's not like a New York or Dallas or Los Angeles, so this doesn't make sense why the word swimming pool cost, and this is just as you get better, would have this high of a result, 2,000, let's say, right? Or 5,000 or 100,000. That's when you'd click through here and be like, well, let me click on this and see, okay, well, that still doesn't make sense because now the number's only to 2 and there's only this much up here. Then you can still target that. So just keep that in mind. That could happen, okay? So that's pretty much it. That's how you do keyword research. That's how you ensure that you're going to target the best, you know, get on the first pages or a better chance of getting on the first page. Also keep in mind there's something called the Google dance. If you're showing up on the first page one day, like let's say the first day or a week later, and then all of a sudden you're nowhere to be found, and then a couple weeks later you're back on the first page, that's called the Google dance, and Google just likes to move around. I mean, they don't like to, it just happens, okay? So don't be worried if you disappear and then you come back, or you disappear or anything like that. The Google dance could happen within the first day, the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later. It could happen, it could not happen for an entire month and then happen. And if that happens, it usually takes anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks to show up. The goal is not to keep worrying and watching the clock. Think of it as like school. You know, imagine like you're at school and you're just waiting for that bell to ring and you're staring at the clock, and it just takes forever for that to happen. So just keep building, keep adding, keep doing more, and you will show up all over the place, and you don't have to sit there and just watch and watch and watch and watch. All right. So that's pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed this video and this training. Be a rockstar in your business and in your life.